Whoa!
The first flights of the Hacker Vector were on a slightly breezy day. Not optimal, but it will have to do. All systems go. Let's see what she can do. Takeoff is almost instant with plenty of power for climb out. General flying showed no issues and only minor trim needed. Very easy handling and very responsive controls. Rolls are crisp. And the rudder authority is almost magical.
Look at that, nice rudder.
I think it actually works by thought control. Even on low rates,
This is all low rates. Look at this.
the controls throw the plane around with authority.
The expo rates are good, right from the manual.
At the other end of the flight envelope, the Vector easily slows down to a crawl. Slow speed handling still has very positive control authority. Full power is greater than 1:1, but not overly excessive. The Vector flies inverted pretty much the same as upright and is just as aerobatic.
Inverted figure eights.
I actually spent quite a bit of time flying her inverted as it was so easy. However, my first attempts at knife edge didn't go so well.
Whoa! That rudder's really effective.
The rudder is surprisingly effective, but I also had some noticeable tucking under while in knife edge.
Oops. A little bit of coupling. May need to adjust the CG a little bit. Want to try knife edge again?
It seemed the CG was a bit too far back for stable knife edge.
Look at that.
I was able to coax a knife edge loop, though it was a bit sloppy.
Look at that, knife edge loop.
And a very tight flat turn.
Huh.
Have I mentioned the rudder is really effective?
Whee!
It also does this pretty well. If I could only remember what I was trying to do.
That's funky.
Up to this point, I've been flying with low rates. So let's see how high rates do.
Watch this.
Oh yes, very nice.
The high rate elevator. Whoa! Man, this thing's snappy.
The Vector has no problems hovering. The pilot, however, is not so good. That said, I gave it the old college try and eventually got something resembling a stable hover. I thought the control authority was very good and any faults were solely on the pilot.
Go back down to low rates. Whoa!
Landings are fun, especially with a little breeze where you can basically land vertically. Concerned about the outer trim condition while knife edge, I installed a slightly heavier 450 mAh battery so as to shift the CG forward a bit and give a bit more runtime. There was no noticeable decrease in performance with the extra weight and felt just as floaty as before. But how would it knife edge? Well, really good if I say so myself. The shift in CG and resulting change in elevator trim was just the cure. I could easily maintain knife edge with only minor corrections needed to adjust for the wind. What I also noticed is just how slow you can fly the Vector. Low and slow is where she really shines. I'll admit, it took me a couple of flights to reprogram her brain to slow down more. Almost any maneuver can be performed at a surprisingly low speed. Brain fully reprogrammed, I start to have some real fun. And at the urging of my cameraman, I try dragging the fin on the ground.
Lower.
Okay, well, it sounded like a good idea at the time.
Well, I had my first couple of flights with the Hacker Vector, and I must say it's a really nice flying plane, really crisp, really responsive, even at low rates. For me, are just fine. And when you go up to high rates, it's just a snappy little bugger. The only thing is, I think the Flight Power 350 milliamp hour battery pack may be a little bit on the small side for this plane, and it seemed like it could use a little bit more nose weight. The thing slows to a crawl. You can see some of the landings were almost a hover landing, so I certainly can see this type of plane being really good plane for flying indoors as well as outdoors on a nice calm day. I really look forward to exploring the flight envelope with this, and maybe finally learning how to do hoverbatics and improve my 3D flying. And with looks like it's incredibly durable plane, and I think you would have a hard time really beating it up. There may be a couple slightly weak spots that will be easily fixable, but I think for the most part, this thing will be more or less indestructible, and a great plane for learning 3D flying or just having a good time in a park or field or even indoors. Motor power is adequate. I wouldn't call it really overpowered by any means, but it's good enough for getting up there and doing hoverbatic kind of stuff. I think maybe experimenting with props to see what's the optimal prop, maybe a little better for this, but otherwise it's a great flying airframe, and it was a lot of fun to build, and I look forward to many hours of flying it around and see what I can do with it.
Need a better fits.